Robert, welcome back. Here we are again. Great to
Hey,
see you.
Matt. Good to see you again.
A lot of updates recently, a lot of posts on X. There's a lot of questions from the community. And so I just wanted to jump right in. You've got some updates and mentioned that AI is a new foundational layer, and we're making AI a core part of the ArcBlock platform. Um, as that happens, I think first to start, like, how has your position shifted to today where now we're incorporating AI and some other new capabilities?
Yeah, that's a very good question. But I want to correct you one thing, and our blog was never blockchain first. Our blog was always decentralization first, right? I think blockchain is just one type of technology that is very important for decentralization. Um, so for the art block architect, we always have these foundational layers. We call the identity layers, which is a decentralized identifier and decentralized identities. Basically, DID, VCs, and a number of the product that is surrounding, starting with the DID's name, like DID names, DID wallet, right? DID Connect. Blockchain is just a part in our computational and storage layers. When we first started to build something on AI, that's by the end of 2022. And starting on 2023, we have officially started one of like a side project called Astro, right? Sometime when I talking to others, say, you do know that how I started AI? I started AI by doing astrology. So it's pretty fun. And so at that moment, so we think AI is a great add-on for our platform that's mostly sitting on the application layers that we can build applications faster, easier, and also have those capability from the large language model, like AIGC. For example, with AIGC, you can easily create NFTs. You no longer need an artist to do a lot of hard work, but instead you have AI to create all those cool non-fungible tokens and effortlessly with AI. Right? So this works so well. And in year 2023, we have Astro as application, like an experimental application coming out. We also have a lot of NFTs that created with AIGC. And apparently people love it, right? As time goes by, when we building the AIs and like last year, we released the Agent, which is a AI no-code engine that let people quickly create blocklets based on the large language model and AIGC. So that still sits on the application layers. But when we building this stuff, our understanding with what AI can do deeper and deeper, we think for our block infrastructure, it's better to at least to split our AI's part into two parts. One is like a foundational part. The other part are still remain on the application side, right? But the foundational part is basically it's two things. One thing is we want to enable every foundational layers on our block to have the AI capability. The AI capability is basically means that it can utilize the power provided by the AI. Imagine, for example, a very typical problem for the blockchain, since we are talking about blockchain, right? For a very long time, blockchain is like a remain as a mystery for many people, even some professional people, right? So you read all those kind of transactions, you don't really know what it means for a lot of things, right? Even today, there's a lot of those kind of attacks there because of the bugs in the smart contract, or just the people are not careful enough. All of the problem can be solved by the AI because AI will not be careless. The AI is going to be able to understand every single thing for those transactions that you're going to sign. You will never be able to, not understanding what you are going to sign. Just as simple as that, if you have an AI agent that stepped into as like a companion or a modern world called a copilot with you to do any blockchain related transactions, it will be 10x or even 100x more secured just because their AI going to be able to help you determine if you're if you are at risk, right? For example, the consensus mechanism can be way much more efficient. Um, um, So everybody talking about, when we're talking about the blockchain, so the real blockchain need to be decentralized. Which means that no one and no organization can easily control that. To be able to do that, usually what we do is we have a lot of nodes. Each of those nodes need to form a consensus, have a consensus algorithm to eventually most of those nodes can agree this is the right transaction and this is the right block to build. And some of those bad actors, bad nodes, they are get voted out of this process because they are malicious or they are something bad, right? But imagine there's an AI can look this all over on the top on the higher layer, not just kind of based on the voting, based on the crypto algorithm. It's basically could be a guide angel for these blockchain nodes. So the crypto is basically like a solid ground up, and but AI can be like the high level to secure everything looks good in the same pictures. So this can make the blockchain way more efficient and more robust and more efficient. And I believe there's a lot of things AI can be valuable for the infrastructure. So all of those makes us to decide that we want to adopt AI not only from the application layers. We want the whole ArcBlock architect that is enforced and tightened by the AI.
From a builder's perspective, how and why is AI such a significant change in terms of how people are going to be building applications, right? And kind of going back to what you mentioned is you made a comparison before that really the impact of AI is as significant as decentralized identity. So I'm curious, just strictly from a builder standpoint, like why is this such a big change?
I think for the builder AI is really a big deal. For example, in the last couple weeks, I myself vibe code a lot and create a bunch of components on ArcBlock platform, and but I write a 0-line code. I never write it even one single line code. Everything is AI created. We use our own tools or platform, and we of course with large language models to experiment all of those. So this is I also showed somebody like my friends who never have experience to do the code. I showed them. I tell them, hey, just imagine what you want to build, right? So that's completely open up a new opportunity for a lot of people who can become builders, right? So in the past, if you want to build complicated applications, you definitely need a software engineers, right? You need years of learning, a lot of experience. So ArcBlock's platform's goal is try to enable more and more people become the builders. We created a lot of reusable components, composable architect. The whole purpose is to demystify the software creation, right? So some of the hardcore engineers, they create the reusable component, but for a lot of other engineers who does not write a lot of code, or even somebody who does not actually write code, but they want to build something useful, they can use ArcBlock's components. For the software engineer, are going to have a big shift. It's going to change dramatically and fundamentally, right? So without using the AI to make everybody a 10x engineer, and that'd be great. But if you do not use the AI, you're not going to be able to compete with somebody else with AI. Even that person probably has less experience or less training than you. Because with the AI, it's all about how deep you understand your customer, how deep you understand what people need. It's not about how do I code this, right? So it's basically like we are trying to build a rocket ship, but now we find like the super powerful engine, and so it just make our ship fly to the moon faster and higher. Now we fly to the Mars.
That's right. That's right. I want to kind of extend on what you were talking about, because one of the updates you mentioned recently was kits and studios for builders. How is that going to benefit the builders on ArcBlock in terms of what we're going to be delivering?
Yeah, so that category is a better categorization of what we have already built over the year. In the past, we just call those our software components and the tools and components for builders. It's kind of the line is kind of blur what is a component and what is application. So for the builders, you asked why so what's a kit and what's a studio. So we just basically we categorize uh, for all our block class for the builders categorize into like a two big bucket, right? One bucket we call them kits. People who are familiar with our block already know that we have a discuss kit, we have page kit, we have promotion kit, we have AI kit. We have so many components already named with kit. What a kit means it's a reusable component. It's a component that you can use in your own product. Mostly, all of those kits that are built by ArcBlock are free. For example, some of the kits are super powerful, like the Discuss kit. It's basically like a Notion plus Slack plus. It's plus a lot of things, and the best is it's white labeled, and you can and it's highly customizable, and it's white labeled, and it's composable. You can use it if you want to create a block. Yeah, just to use Discuss kit, and then you add your own flavors. You get a top-notch block, right? You want to create like a very cool, like a new type of immersive international community, like for the discussion forum. You can use Discuss kit and plus AI kit, and you get a new product, right? So all of this for free, but just to use your imagination to reuse those kits to build a new software, right? So that's a part of the kits, and we have another part of the product, and people already tried them. Is we call that studio, like NFT studio, like aging studio. The studio is basically like the is a tool with a user interface, and usually it's no code. It's let you to easily drag and drop or or just fill in some forms that will be able to help you to create applications and easily. So as you can see, like kits are like your reusable components, and the studio are like your tools, right?
So I know you and I've talked quite a bit as of late about MCP, and MCP is again something in the AI industry that's just kind of exploding on us. But one thing that really piqued my curiosity, I actually got some questions from the community about this specifically, was a post you made, and you said we just took MCP to the next level by integrating DID crypto payments and making it extendable. And I wanted to ask you, for a normal person like me, like what does that actually mean?
Yep. So so MCP protocol is just become exploded, and it is basically fast, developed so fast, much faster than I thought, and it's even faster than what the MCP's creator thought, right? So I just mentioned, for example, in the first part of this podcast, we talk about we want to add AI to every part of the we want to add AI to every part of the ArcBlock's architect, right? So that's one part of that is everything can use AI. But the other side of that is we also can expose everything in ArcBlock architect to the AI. What that means? That means the infrastructure, for example, for like a server node or a blocklet, and one part is it can use AI. It's powered by AI. Now it become more powerful, right? The other part is it can expose itself to AI, which means it can allow the AI to do something for it automatically, right? So in the past, it only allowed the human do it, but now it's added the capability to allow the AI do it. Once you have those components allow the AI do it, that basically means the AI agent can kick in, automate a lot of things, just like a human, right? So this is also makes it way more, automated and intelligent for a lot of things, especially from the infrastructure layer, right? So the MCP. So when we experiment AI, we constantly looking into what is the best way to implement this, right? If we just implement this by our own, it's going to work, but the whole ecosystem. There's a lot of other people. It cannot. If it is just something that within our own platform, the impact is just within our reach. So when MCP coming out last November, we instantly feel that this is a very nice protocol that is permissionless, which is basically all those decentralization people really think what really important is not actually the decentralization, is actually the permissionless. You do not need somebody else to permit you or to approve you to do something, and you can just do it. And also permissionless means once you do it with that protocol, you're going to be able to work with many other people without negotiating with them one by one with the terms, right? So that's a beautiful part of the DID, of the blockchain. And the DID is permissionless. The blockchain protocol are permissionless for the public chains, right? And MCP is a very simple protocol that is looks like permissionless is a part of its spirit, right? So that's why we quickly adopted MCP into our infrastructure layer, because we want to enable every builders to be able to control the part of the ArcBlock infrastructure and with a way of the AI, and also more and also if you build a blocklet, if you build application on top of a ArcBlock architect, we make it easy for you to expose your capability to the AI, and you can use the AI, and the second you can expose your service to the AI. So that just makes things, basically we can call that AI native. Right? It's basically like in ArcBlock, because every ID is a DID. It just makes things simpler. No matter this application is creating from anybody and what kind of service. So the identifier, they're just unique, and they also follow the same rule for the verification. It just makes things simpler. And when everything is powered by MCP, that just makes it easier. You don't need to care about who built this component, and you can just, whenever you need to use this capability, you can just use it, right? That's all by a standard protocol. I believe for the end users, they just feel that the whole ArcBlock system going to be super intelligent. From the builder point of view, they just feel that our whole ecosystem just become more open, because it's not just you can talk with another blocklet, and you just tap into the whole big ecosystem of the whole MCP, right? We're absolutely like very, very dedicated for this new protocol. Even though this is a very new protocol, there's still a lot of things need to be built, right? We're also contributing to it, right? Because we believe that this is a good direction, and we're not only we're going to use it, we're going to build it together.
And just recently, some team members from the ArcBlock team actually proposed some improvements to the official MCP server framework. Can you talk a little bit about that in terms of like the authorization mechanisms, including decentralized identity?
I believe that our team is going to contribute to the MCP's big community more and more, right? This is just a beginning, because as we mentioned, that MCP is a very new and a young protocol. There is absolutely a lot of spaces that need to be extended. A lot of loopholes probably need to be fixed, right? So, for example, we liked the decentralized identifiers protocol, and we joined the community, and we built the community, and we contribute to the community, and eventually we become somebody who is important players. Like Matt, you're the steering committee of the DIF, which basically means ArcBlock is playing a big role into this DID community. It's we as ArcBlock, we want to contribute, and we want to take the leadership role as when we are needed, when we are contributed to this community. So I'm pretty confident that very few people even though MCP is a very popular concept, a lot of companies say, "Oh, we're going to MCP." Everybody talking about this, right? But not everybody are going to dedicate it like us, and we build that into our core, and we're going to become someone important in this whole industry.
So we talked about AI, we've talked about MCP, we talked about decentralized identity. And going back to the post again, you mentioned crypto. I'm curious. I think one of the areas that ArcBlock is really well positioned for success in the future is having a role to play and using payments to enable AI to AI interactions to really take off. How do you see payments playing a role in that in the future?
Yeah, so I think the payment and for the agent economy, I think there's two single most important part. One is identity. Second is payment, right? So they are also related. As you can see, that ArcBlock aligned on this well. Um, so I recently I tweeted one thing is basically said I say MCP is actually web service done right. Basically means they are providing APIs. They're also providing the document for the APIs that you can easily to use and to form a huge global-wide infrastructure to get a lot of things done more efficiently, right? However, web service, that from technology part, web service is pretty good and it's influenced a lot of how software built, but the web service itself didn't success as it's supposed to be. What's the problem? Right. I think the major problem is the economics, right? A company can build a great web service, but how to make money, right? And because in the internet, the identity is not a foundation layer, it's an application layer. And the payment is also not a foundation layer, it's a payment layer. So there is no identities, there's no payment, there's no kind of incentive layers for the entity, for the internet. And eventually the web service is kind of back to the traditional way. If you want to use this web service, you're going to have to pay the fee, subscribe. So what's the difference of the, doing that with buying a software or buy a service, right? It's almost the same. And because all of those kind of web service, they have a separate different identifiers. They have separate different payment method. And it's basically like it's not just a walled garden. It's basically like walls everywhere. You're trying to go through like a highway of the web service, but you see all different kind of like a payment station or walls across a highway. There's no highway at all, right? So I think MCP is kind of like it's kind of like a web service done right, but the MCP itself didn't cover the identity and the payment by itself as well. So all of those mixed up without identity, without payment, without incentive, and also takes a lot of effort and time for human to build it. So that caused the web service is not able to kind of booming up as it's supposed to be, right? So now MCP solved the important problem is MCP is basically like a web service for the AIs, right? So it exposed the capability of MCP servers. It also exposed the let the AI be able to control it, and the AI can learn how to adopt it. So that makes the integration part easier. So now the problem left is how to ensure all of those kind of people who providing the MCP service, they are getting incentivized, right? So that's why I believe that the payment, first of all, the identifier to ensure that you're talking to the right people, you're not getting cheated by some kind of malicious MCP servers. There are already some talks this week talking about this kind of risk that some kind of bad actors in the MCP servers, they can do something harm to your computer and to your application, right? So you cannot stop that. There are always going to be bad guys doing this. To prevent that, you need to ensure that every time you're talking to a legit MCP servers, and to ensure that, you need a DID, you need to verifiable credentials. It's not saying that you cannot do that by just a traditional way with the OAuth, but again, because the OAuth is designed something for the human, right? Your AI agent will act like a dumb person that always constantly need your help just because they need authorization, they need authentication. But with the DID, all of those can be done automatically through the cryptographics, and so the AI agent can negotiate itself, can verify with itself, and also for the payment, is a traditional payment is done by credit card, by all those kind of they're slow, they are human centric. But for the AI agent, it needs a high performance, automatic, and secure way to make payment, right? So for the AI agent, eventually the payment system, the incentive system is absolutely going to be crypto, right? The only question is that going to be Bitcoin? Unlikely, because Bitcoin is slow, it's not designed for this. Is it going to be Ethereum, Solana, or ArcBlock? Um, Nobody know, right? But I think time will tell. The people who right now have the best, market share, probably is just nothing in the future, right? So right now the people are building the crypto bros are building meme coins. They're still thinking about the DeFi, have to use the exchange to make quick money. And but there's a lot of people in the AIs, in the AI plus blockchain, are seeing the future, that we're seeing that the future there's huge impact for the AI and the crypto needs, and we need to build a solid infrastructure that is optimized for this, right? So we started this from day one, and so I believe we have a very good shot.
So you mentioned earlier that you've recently tried vibe coding. I wanted to ask you maybe take a slightly different stance on this question, but first off, do you feel that vibe coding is positive for the industry, specifically for for the blockchain industry? And secondly, do you think that's will enable more builders to come on and build cool applications, cool services within the ArcBlock ecosystem because of vibe coding?
For the second one, I think absolutely. Vibe coding just makes turns a lot of people who are not builders into the builders as first. The second is vibe coding also going to turn the builders into a 10x builders or 100x builders, just because it's a way to make it way more efficient for you to build stuff, right? So I can build a like desk. I can use my build a tools to in my garden, and this eventually I think building software is just like this. Anybody can build it, but there's still professional one and the casual one, right? So everybody's still going to. I don't believe that is going to eventually is going to completely take the job away, but it's just to kind of fundamentally change how the job is done, right? I think for your first question is what's the vibe coding impact for the blockchain? So right now, for the foundation part of the blockchain, I don't see anybody talking about this yet. I think there's two reasons. One is the blockchain is relatively like a serious backend stuff, right? The vibe coding probably not a great fit, at least at this moment, probably not a great fit, right? But I do see like building smart contract, right? Building this kind of verification logics on the blockchain. I think vibe coding definitely can have the opportunity. I believe it's just about the time. Sooner or later, people will find that probably you don't need a highly paid guys to build a smart contract for you, but instead you just use AI vibe coding. You build a smart contract, and guess what? This smart contract is going to be more solid and more secured than human developers. And this is a trend. This is inevitable. Yeah, it's definitely going to be there.
Awesome. Robert, as always, thanks so much. Look forward to talking to you again next week.
Awesome. Yeah, I hope our community and the audience will enjoy what we're talking. And I believe that we're in a very exciting period, and a lot of product and a lot of things we're cooking it, right? But once it's released, it's going to be powered by AI. It's going to be the future is so bright.